Welcome back, guys. We hope you enjoy this episode. Thanks for joining us again. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. Follow us on Spotify and all the other usual spaces on social media. And if you want that extra content, come and check us out on Patreon as well. Price of a coffee once a month. Get some additional content, and you can chat to us direct throughout the month. But on with the episode.
Yeah, I do want to do a proper intro because I genuinely think you're one of the most talented producers in drum and bass. Like, I said it before you came in.
He was singing your praises.
Yeah. And we'll get into all the reasons why that is. But very excited to have you on the podcast today. Obviously, you've seen from the title, we've got Mr. Rich No. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
How was the journey down?
Pretty chill.
Yeah. Coming up from Manchester for context, for the audio listeners as well. It's come all the way from Manny to be with us today.
Only cost him £1,000 return.
Only £1,000.
But no, it is much
expensive.
Yeah. This is work. This is work, man. Yeah.
Valid.
Yeah. So no, much appreciated for making the time. I'm glad we finally got to make it happen. And I'm sure Len's Teo will be happy as well because he's been on to me about this one.
Like he's been on to me. He's like, have you asked? Has he spoken to you? I think so.
Yeah, no, shout out to you, man.
That's nice that he speaks so highly of us.
Honestly, he's like one of our biggest fans.
Big up. He loves this podcast.
Yeah, really is. Yeah, so always appreciate the support. But yeah, so hopefully you kind of are familiar with the format, what we do here. Obviously, it's not structured. Yeah. But we like to basically give every guest the opportunity to kind of just tell their story. Because there's lots of things that we don't know about you, and I'm sure your fans don't know about you. And it turns out people are interested in every single detail of your life. So
cool.
Yeah, we like to start off. We go like right back, and even before you were Note. Let's talk about just like your earliest memories with music and what they were. And I know you were saying off camera you were actually born in Malawi and you came to the UK as well at a young age. So yeah, I'm sure all of that all forms part of the story. So yeah, we're interested in all of it, man.
Great. You want me to start now?
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's just jump straight in. We'll just sit back, man. Yeah.
Right. Earliest memory of music. So I was born in Malawi, which is a little tiny country, sort of southeast of Africa. And it is like beautiful, gorgeous, quite like, I don't know, like it's quite a unique country in that it's too small to like make any big headlines other than Madonna coming and stealing babies, which is a thing. But then like it's just like it's super green, hasn't really like had that much, like there's no big famine, no war. It's quite a green and fertile place. Poorly managed, but that's a whole other bad like thing. But because of that, it's got quite a rich kind of culture of arts, I suppose. And I just remember like growing up with a lot of music around, and in a way that wasn't like, oh, this is a thing. It's like, it's not like we are musicians. It's just culturally music is part of the way you live your life, dancing and all that kind of stuff. And then on top of that, I grew up in church. So obviously would be singing in church, and then at home in the evening would have like prayers in the evening, and before we do our prayers we'd sing a song. My parents were in a choir, and so like music was kind of just embedded in like the lifestyle and the culture that I was raised in. So those are kind of where it started for me. But I think at no point, because once again it is, it's still Africa, at no point was it like, oh, this is a thing that you do as a career. And especially like not only the African thing, but the specifically sort of the church aspect, like music is for praise and worship, or music is a thing that we do to kind of serve this other purpose. It's not necessarily seen as like a career choice. So then when we moved to the UK, especially with that element of like moving to the UK, it just wasn't my parents didn't work really hard to get me a really good education so that I do music. That was not the...
Being a child of an immigrant, though, you're going to uni, man.
Yeah, you're going to uni and you're going to do some sort of STEM thing.
I did chemistry.
Yeah.
And now I do drum and bass. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. I did maths and engineering. And
there you go.
Here we are.
Yeah, there you go.
So like music was definitely just in my life, but it was much later when I like decided that it was a thing that I could do, and it wasn't even that journey wasn't a conscious decision. But
so when did you first like pick up an instrument? Then was that when you came to the UK?
Yeah. So that was quite late on. So my dad always had a guitar in the house, and I'd always look at it and be like, I really want to learn one day. And I remember like my parents trying to kind of get me some music lessons, but then they couldn't afford to keep it up. So I never had like a consistent teaching. And then I think at one point, I just started playing, and there was like a weird thing that happened in my life where like when I was in year 9, my parents sent me back to Africa for a year to go to school in like a boarding school. And then after a year of being away, I then came back to my old school. And high school, when you're away for a year, like the social setup shifts massively.
Quite massively. Yeah,
and I remember just coming back and being a bit slightly not isolated. I still had friends, and I'm still good friends with all of them there. But I just remember feeling slightly outside. So during that time, I would go home and just like isolate myself, and just basically I picked up the guitar and just sort of taught myself.
What was it like, just to pause on that for a second, because obviously then going to a completely new school in a different country for just a year must have been pretty tricky as well, no?
Yeah. It was weird. It was...
was it like an international school? Was it like actual like...
So I went to 2 schools whilst I was I went back to Malawi and went to like a boarding school in a village on the top of this mountain. So it was like as remote and as villagey as it can get, and that was pretty raw. And then after that, I think just because when I was like sending letters back to my parents, they were a bit like, okay, this was maybe a bit too far. So then they sent me to an international school in Zambia, which was kind of like almost weird on the other side of things, because like my parents could just about afford that because of the exchange rate rather than like having really good jobs. But then everybody I was in school with was like the son of the Supreme Court justice.
Super rich.
And like they were all super rich. So it was like a culture shock in both directions.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was,
and I guess at this point as well, like what were you listening to? Was there like, because I guess you've been to like 3 different countries in a year at this point.
Yeah.
And like, what were you picking up?
So I was a big hip hop head, big hip hop and R&B. And then actually when I went to boarding school in Malawi, they were like, there was a big MC culture there. And like, I remember being introduced to like, not like I knew of Nas at the time, but I had like one of my best mates there was like he was the best sort of freestyler in the school. And he was like, Nas is the one, man. Sit down and listen to this. And then like had a cassette tape of Illmatic.
Nice.
And I was like, I know this. And then I like put it on and I was like, oh, okay, this is something.
Yeah,
this is something different. And I was listening to like loads of hip hop, lots of R&B, and that was pretty much my diet. And then at home there was like reggae and but I wasn't really like tapping into that because of the culture of just music being around. I wasn't like, oh, this is this person. It's just like, oh, this is the music that we play when we're having friends around, or this is the music that plays when it's church time or whatever. But the music that was like mine, the first bit of music that I felt was like my own, was like the hip hop and R&B for sure.
Yeah. It's funny that I feel like it's very similar to like why I like to rap as well. Against the backdrop of what my parents were listening to. And I guess for all of us, it's like a slightly rebellious thing as well, right?
Yeah.
Of like, you don't want to listen to this old-timey music, you want to listen to like what's edgy and what's cool, right?
I also think that with hip-hop and rap specifically, I think what a lot of people latch, at least for me, I found, a lot of other music was sort of purpose-serving, or it was the peers around me that were listening to it and enjoying it. And I'd even argue that drum and bass was a bit like that for me, but it was hip-hop was that because it was like it's an art form, right? It's poetry. So there's lyricism to it, there's depth, there's meaning. Suddenly I'm like, oh no, that's what I love, regardless of what everybody else around me. Like I'm finding my own little creative avenue. But yeah.
Yeah. In a big way. And I think there's like, I'm trying to remember what was happening, because I think the combo of like aesthetically as well, like what was the cool thing, like hip hop looked cool and felt cool, and then to like have a taste of that sort of growing up, and then getting sent back to Malawi, and then being immersed in this like MC culture that's happening around the boarding school, and seeing like people writing their bars and meeting up in the nighttime when it's like lights out, and they'll do like rap battles, and then seeing someone who can like freestyle for 10 minutes nonstop, and like watching all of that happening in real time was like, it felt, I think it was the closest I've ever felt to like, at least and not really realizing at the time, being like, oh, I'm on the cutting edge of something here. Like, even though, this was happening way past the like hip hop being born time, and it was like what, mid 2000s or whatever, early 2000s, and it still felt like that energy of like, this is exciting, this is like young, and this is now and current, and we're watching. And because some of them were like, my friends at the boarding school I was at were like getting on the like national radio, which obviously it's it's Malawi, it's not like a huge thing, but it was like a big deal for us. And like, this is
especially at that age as well.
It was like it's true. It's like 15-year-olds getting on radios. Nuts. So I think that was like all of those elements.
Did you try and rap?
Briefly, but I didn't. I don't think I ever was. I don't think I was ever interested in that element of like, in that kind of performing.
Yeah.
Like I wrote lots of poetry at the time, and but I think there was just something, I just really enjoyed watching it and being part of it, and being in the like, and almost like from a writing perspective, I loved like hearing the stories, and then also being like, oh, you could say it like this, and you could say like, so I had lots to say about people's bars.
Yeah.
But I just never like, at least not with the rapping itself. Which is interesting, because with most other art forms that I really enjoyed, I always want to be like, I want to
get involved. Yeah.
Whereas with the hip hop thing, I think because it was like, I'm listening to it and it's happening live. And maybe that was also the first time why I really fell in love with being an audience member, and I really enjoyed that element. I think that's something that's super important to me, and something that I really value. Is like, I really love to just go watch things, and like as much as I do listening to things.
I think that's completely valid. There's so many creative like art forms that I would never try, but I love seeing someone who's a master at it do it. So there's a lot to be said about that. I think that's pretty normal, to be honest. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, so you're back in Manchester then.
Wow.
Yeah. So at what point then? So you've just picked up the guitar, you were saying, and you're kind of teaching yourself / had a few lessons. How does that then progress onto becoming a musician, writing music?
That came almost immediately. So like, I think because I was writing poetry and writing stories from like, I don't actually remember when I started. I think when we first had the first computer, I started writing my own like comic book superhero stories.
Nice.
So I think storytelling and writing was always something that I did on my own. So then when I started playing guitar, though, it made sense to me to like put the words that I was writing to the music, and because I was singing anyway, so it's like it was almost like instant. So like, as soon as I learnt my first chord, I was like, right, let me sing this thing over the top of it. Or I've like worked out this little riff for myself, and I'm gonna put some words. And initially it was all just kind of like silly, jokey songs, but as I continued doing that, some of them were like, oh, let me actually try to say something, or they just started getting a bit more serious. I think I pretty much started writing songs before I could really play the guitar. And
you kind of had the vision in your head without being able to actually execute it.
Yeah. And maybe it's just an assumption of like, this is what you do. Because I guess growing up seeing music being just performed all the time, it never like, I think I'd never stopped to even think about, because I think at that stage it wasn't, once again, I wasn't thinking about career or like being a performer in any way. It was just, this is music, so I'm going to play the guitar. I've got these words that I've written, so I'm going to sing them to this melody that I guess this is how it works. And I just continued kind of doing that, and just getting a little bit more like less jokey and just a bit more serious and a bit more like putting a bit of my feelings in. But I think the big switch was at that point. So like this would have been like, I'm 15, 16. I'm kind of writing these songs and then suddenly being aware of like, okay, let me listen to like other guitarists and other guitar music. And then being like introduced to like Bob Dylan and like listening to loads of like Neil Young and all these like this other world that is new to me, and some of the stuff that my dad was listening to at the time. And then at that point I was like, I pretty much like just stopped to listen to hip hop and stopped listening to R&B, and I was like just jumped into sort of all these like big singer-songwriter people, and then I was like, oh, okay, they're doing that kind of thing. They're writing these kind of songs. They're painting these kind of images. And I just remember listening to like loads of Bob Dylan and being like, whoa, this is like so cool and so good. Like the songwriting's incredible. And just going through the list of like, who are these people who are regarded as like really good songwriters. And then that's when the craft started. Like I started thinking about the craft of writing a song and thinking about putting music together. So yeah, like people like Tom Waits and Tracy Chapman and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then
nice.
Yeah.
And were you recording anything at this point as well?
No, only on like my phone.
Yeah,
like little voice notes to send to. Like it would literally, I'll get home, play something, learn a riff, write a little thing, and then send it to my cousin, and then and they'll be like, oh, listen to this song. Earlier, that when it started, it was first like, oh, listen to this jokey song I wrote about a pizza. And then you're like,
I was hoping you're going to elaborate on that a bit. So like, the jokey aspects of it. What do you mean by that?
It was just dumb songs. Like things that are like, I don't know, like just... I can't even remember anything. I wish I could. If I could sing it to you, I would. But like, it would just be like, I think me. Like to be fair, me and my partner now, we make those kind of silly songs that you make up that you sing, and then it becomes a thing. Around how it would be that kind of stuff. But I just
house banter songs.
Yeah.
I do it with my daughter. Like I just like freestyle rap to her, and then it turns into like, oh, that's actually like got a bit of a hook to it. This is gonna be my or I'll turn like nursery rhymes and I'll make them our own, and she like loves it. She even does it herself now. She's only like 4.5. She's like on it. So that's great. But it was interesting to hear you say that, because I feel like when I started writing as well, like I started from a jokey aspect as well. And does everybody?
To be honest, even like my first production, like I was sampling. You remember that game Worms?
Yeah,
I was sampling the sound effects off of Worms to make dubstep tunes.
Yeah,
that was like my first productions. Yeah,
I think that's something about like the vulnerability of like.
Well, you just don't know what you're doing, do you? So
it's partly that, but you also said like before you got, and then you started to get like deep. It's like that transition, isn't it? Because early on, you almost don't want to do that because you know you're not ready for it. You don't want to take yourself too seriously or like put that risk out there. So it's like, oh, if I just take the piss, you know, I won't like critique myself to a point of not doing it anymore. So it's like,
I think you might be on something there. Being vulnerable in art is like that's like the true artistry in a way, isn't it? So you're probably right there. Like maybe you're not confident enough yet to fully express yourself, so you just pick a topic that you know stuff about, like pizza or work. Do you know what I mean? Like nursery rhymes or whatever. It was also, just to go back on what you were saying as well, like this conversation's happened quite a lot with a lot of like our guests and just like amongst other musicians and stuff. Like the era we all grew up in and making music felt a lot more self-discovery based than what someone who's starting to make music now has, because obviously there's Patreon, there's YouTube. I mean, I use YouTube, but it was like early YouTube. And then, you know, there's Splice and there's all these resources where you don't actually have to figure things out yourself. You can just go and look it up. And I think, I don't know, why am I even saying that? There's just like it's interesting that we all kind of came up in that era before that really started, where it was like, you just work it out. You just kind of, and you're doing a lot of things wrong.
And I think to kind of go back to the like jokey thing, I do think there is also this element of like I was talking about play is really important in like being creative. There is a mess about element of what we do, and it's kind of fun. And I suppose you kind of like, at least when I started, it started from that place of I'm just messing around. I'm like looking for the thing that is the most fun.
Yeah.
I'm not on the guitar to like at that point, I'm not on the guitar to make people cry. I'm not on the guitar to I want to have a good time whilst doing this.
It's more Jackson Pollock rather than paint by numbers, in it. At that stage, you're kind of just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks.
I think
the fun with it.
The fun thing is the key thing, though.
And
we're kids at that point as well, so we are just having fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because I do a lot of work with young people now, and I'm like, there was a brief stint where I was like a teacher of like teaching guitar, and I hated it because like I hate situations where they have to walk away with like a specific knowledge, because my main thing was like when parents would be like, they're not, how can I get them to like learn and get really good? I'm like, at this stage, whatever makes them want to play, let them do that. Like I'm not going to sit here and teach them scales if all they want to do is play the song from Encanto or whatever. Like we'll do that. We'll do the thing where that feels like fun and playful, and then once they get to the point where they feel comfortable, then we can start talking about getting serious.
No, this is the reason why I stopped. This is the reason I stopped doing grades. I did play guitar.
Yeah,
same.
Yeah.
And I literally, as soon as the music theory got really heavy, I was like 14. I was like, I already go to school, man. I'm not trying to sit here and learn all this theory. But
I'm not gonna lie, I had a dope music teacher, not at school, but my trumpet teacher, when I used to go to the Newham Academy School of Music, he was fucking sick. Like, for the life of me, he taught me for like 10 years and I can't remember his name. I was really young, like giving myself the benefit of the doubt there. But he was like, there's a music shop in Seven Kings. Go there. You can buy any trumpet like piece of music you want, right? And bring it in, and that's what we'll learn. And then at the end of the year, when we go to do the grades, that's when we'll start learning the piece that you need to learn, right?
Yeah.
So like I walked in there and I was like, you're fucking joking. They got Lord of the Rings on trumpet. I want that. Bought that for like £3, took it. And that's all he taught me for years, man. We just went through learning all of those pieces and I loved it. The moment I changed teacher, I was like, fuck this instrument, man.
Honestly, I think it's why people give up, man.
Yeah.
It's honestly so profound what you said, and it's a shame because it's you should clearly be like teaching, because you're the kind of like that approach would have kept me playing guitar in primary school and would have definitely kept me playing drums in secondary school. But I got to grade 4 and the guy was just like, right, next. And all I remembered was going into like the Guildhall in London, some big room, like on my own, like as like a 15 or 16-year-old boy. And like I passed, but I remember it being like one of the worst days of my life.
It's not fun.
And I was like, stressed. No, I don't want to do this anymore.
And I think that's a good teacher is someone who can like balance that perfectly. And that sounds like they're a good teacher, where it's like you still feel like you're choosing to be there and choosing to do the thing. But yeah, I don't even know how we got to this. But
well, you mentioned you were a guitar teacher for a little bit, and we were just talking about how you kind of went from like messing around with the silly songs to being a bit more getting into the craft.
Yeah, fun before craft.
Yeah, it's a really good ethos to have.
Yeah, so you're having fun with like sort of writing music, creating music, not trying to rush things on, but like at how early on did that translate into I've got a DAW now and I'm going to make something that isn't maybe like a guitar, like it's not you in a guitar.
Before we do that, because you haven't mentioned dance music once yet so far in your journey.
Well, that's what I'm.
So I'm in.
Where does this transition begin?
A lot, much later.
Yeah.
So
really?
Can we carry on with them? So your guitar music you're having?
Sorry, being so certain, but it's super interesting. Yeah.
Well, honestly, the fact that you even said when you started, the way that you're speaking, most guests we have on, it's like we talk about production, right? And that's like it's like when they first produce. Obviously, we've had some musicians on, but I feel like you're one of the most musical people we've had on.
This is what I'm saying.
It's really interesting to hear you be like, oh, I just picked up a guitar, I was doing songs, and like that aspect I think is just such an interesting angle for people who listen to this podcast. So I guess like you said, just what was so in between that and Adore, because it sounds like there's still a bit of a portion to maybe go through.
The basically church then happened. Right. So which is like I talk a lot about how church is such an incredible education for music, because it's there to serve this other thing. Not to say there's no egotistical church musicians. There definitely
is.
100%. But in the purest form, that there's because you're doing this other thing, which meant that as soon as my parents heard me playing guitar upstairs in the bedroom, they were like, oh, you could play along at church. And
by the way, sorry to cut this.
Yeah.
You were describing how I grew up as well.
Yeah.
I play guitar in church as well. Literally.
Can we deep it in? What kind of church we talking? Because I was born and bred Roman Catholic. My family.
They're Adventist.
Right. Yeah. Because we used to work in a carpentry workshop, and we had, I'm not sure what church it was, but it was an African church next to it. And honestly, I'd be there sometimes on weekends, cutting wood and making cabinets or whatever, and there'd be a wedding next door, and it'd be one of the most vibes things I've ever heard. When I used to work late on a Thursday, you'd hear they'd be doing rehearsal, and it'd be there is a jam going on. And the weddings, everyone's in colour. It's actually a really culturally, it's a beautiful thing. Very different. I'm not a religious guy.
Yeah. Every Sunday, 60 feet from our front garden, you can hear the music from the church on the other side of the park, and it's fucking 10-10 every time.
It's very different. Mine was choir, boring, dead. Not here for it at all. But I
mean, there was plenty of dead music in the church. It wasn't all joyous and fun. But I think the big thing was that it's a place where if you have a slight interest in a thing of especially the way they kind of talk about it is as a ministry or an act of service, they will grab you and throw you in and be go do it. So
it's this whole thing of it's a God-given talent, right?
Yeah. You need to
give it back.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're okay, you can play 2 chords, go. And I'm right, okay, let's go. Which is it was wild, but it also meant that I had this education of not really thinking about how good I am, and I because I also went to quite a small church, which is a lot less intimidating, because there's also the bigger churches that had these crazy musicians who were all really good. They had the full setup. It was and going to those spaces, it was really intimidating because they're doing some nuts things. Whereas for us in this tiny church, I could model my way through songs. I could figure. So at that point, I was playing guitar loads, and then there was a piano. So I was really modeling my way through the piano, really not good playing, but I was allowed to, and that whole experience really trained my ear, because you'd be because I couldn't read music. So that I'd have the hymn in front of me, and I'd be that's meaningless.
That's just for show.
This is just so I know where what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then so I'd be playing, because I couldn't play I can't actually play all the melodies and stuff. So I'd be okay, these are the chords, and because I'm not being super clear in the way I'm playing, the person singing, auntie, whoever, starts the song in a completely different key. So I'm right, okay, I need to now figure out what key we're playing in and all that stuff. And so all of that was training that I didn't realize I was getting at the time.
Yeah.
So I was just so there was that education of learning how to listen, how to also elevate a moment rather than take over. All of these things as a musician, that becomes really really valuable when you're writing and thinking about making your own piece of music. So that all that was happening, and then I was getting better at the instrument, and I was become a bit more confident with my guitar playing, and then just kind of zeroing in on the kind of stuff that I really liked about the guitar. so like my friend gave me a Nick Drake CD, The Pink Moon, and I remember going home and I was like, I had a CD player in my bedroom and I put the CD in, pressed play, and I was like sort of getting out of my uniform, and I sat down on my bed and just listened to like the whole thing and just being like, I don't know what that was, but that felt really beautiful and cool and powerful. And the guitar sound for me was like, it was like nothing I'd ever heard before at the time. And so I started like trying to learn all of those songs and like learn about alternate like tunings and
it's a rabbit hole, that isn't it?
Yeah.
Once you go down that path.
And that's it. And you're kind of going into that zone. And also like I was drawn to all these like musicians who weren't quote, like, you know, Bob Dylan was not a good quote unquote good singer, or like I listened to like loads of Tom Waits who also didn't have like, wasn't like good or nice to listen to in terms of like aesthetic.
Same with Hendrix as well.
Yeah, it's like all of those kind of things, but there was this like other thing that they were trying to do, or they were just using their voice as they had it to like tell this other story. And then listen to something like Nick Drake, where there's this like, it's quite impressionistic, the writing, and he's clearly like trying to touch at this feeling that he isn't necessarily expressing with the words that he's saying. All of this like kind of wishy-washy, paintery way of like thinking about music was kind of like, I was just sort of internalizing it and being like, okay, this is how you do this thing. Like I want to feel this. I feel this thing that I'm going through, and I want to get as close to that feeling in this music as possible. So this is why the tuning is like this, so that the chord isn't just like a C major. It's like this weird, funky version of a C major that has like all these colors in it. So all of that was like stuff I wasn't consciously like thinking. I wasn't like, what chord?
Like writing notes.
Yeah, writing notes. Because I mean, to this day, I when I write music, I don't know what key I'm in. I don't know what chords I'm playing.
But you've got all this internalized knowledge that just comes out.
And it's always about that searching of like, okay, there's a thing that I'm feeling, and I want to try to like get that out into a sound. And yeah, so there's many years of doing that.
I am surprised that you said that you don't like. When I listen to your music, it sounds like someone who has studied music, but also isn't rigid to like rules.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I thought. So it's actually really interesting to say that you kind of doesn't sound like you did actually like do the theory side too closely.
No, it sounds like you studied music, but like in. Like,
I mean, like formally studying music.
Yeah. Like you studied, but in like it from an artist.
You're a student of the game.
Yeah, of the game
without being formally trained. Basically,
you played your own.
Very Harry vibe in that, innit?
It's like it's very, very like like if I look back at the time I spent and dedicated, I was like, I was clearly studying.
Yeah, you're doing your test.
I don't think I've ever studied for anything as hard
as extensively.
But yeah, I never like did any formal training. Just because it was weird. You know, my parents didn't have the money for it, and then also like in high school, I tried to take music GCSE, but only one other person took the course. Were like applied for it too, so they just canned it. They couldn't do it with just two people. And then that like my mate could get managed to get like lessons out like from paid by my parents, where I couldn't do that. So there was a time where like I thought about going down a more formal route, but I just didn't have the access for it.
Can I just say as well, side note, I'm going to get slightly political here, so apologies, but it's interesting to hear you say that, because I always hear a conversation around like opportunity and what am I trying to say, like nepotism and all of these things around, and people don't think it applies to the creative arts necessarily. I think people think as well. But you hear the conversation. I don't think people think it's really obvious with things like university, finance jobs, lawyers, all that stuff. Like it's really obvious that the more money you have, the better opportunities. But that applies to all walks of life, man. Especially in the creative arts.
In the creative side of, especially, it's
massively.
Let's think realistically here. you've got parents saying, "Oh, I'm going to look after this child and fund and finance and put them out into the world." I don't want them to. I don't want them being a painter. I want them to go and make getting a job that's going to make bank and like allow them to survive in the world. Yeah. Whereas if you have money and you come with money, you can do what the fuck you want. Yeah. So yeah, there is that. There's definitely that sort of clash, and that's.
I'd almost argue more so because, like, there is like, if you're a kid going for like your traditional jobs, there is like some sort of like vested interest from the teachers and educators and what societally to like support you in that. And if you're like, I really want to be a good scientist, they will, like, the school will bend backwards and kind of help you to do that. But if you're like creative, it's cool. That's really good for you to do that, but they're not going to push you as much to do that, which means that you are left to like whatever your circumstances are. Yeah. And then nowadays as well, like if you're now thinking about having a career, like the amount of there's no money.
Everything's stacked against creators, right? Yeah. Everything's stacked against this. Yeah.
Do you wish you had more formal training? Because to me, it sounds like, I think it's really beautiful that you didn't, because we always have this conversation with producers about how people are always learning the same ways of production, and it ends up being like everyone sort of monolith, sounds the same sort of thing. And I guess it's the same with like formal music training to a certain extent. It's like you end up learning how someone else did it, whereas you finding your own ways quite a unique and beautiful like start into music, I guess. And yeah, like I feel like it's actually almost more beneficial because you have your own flair, and you like the way you've described sometimes how you did like a chord, but you made it like a little bit, you put your own like spin on it. Yeah. It's like something that I guess maybe if you'd had a formal training, you wouldn't be the way that you are. So it's like kind of like you found your way. Yeah. Which is honestly, to me, like your sound's so like amazing, and you're clearly like a really talented musician. So it's like it's almost a better way of going about it. I don't know. That's
I think it's like almost a whole like classical versus jazz thing, right? It's like, especially if you like learn classically. That's why I was talking about being really rigid to the rules. Yeah. I think with like even with jazz formal training, they kind of teach you how to improvise and teach you how to not be so rigid, but then it's still structured.
It's still
yeah.
Like because I think my feelings about it are like it's hard because obviously you just have the experience that you have, so it's like I have zero regrets, and I know. I think one of the most beautiful things about the way I kind of learned music or came into music is that a lot of it was like through nurturing my relationship with like my intuition and my voice, which I think is an extremely valuable bit of like learning for any art form. So I think that I would never give that element up for anything. Like that for me is like my superpower as a musician is like my relationship with like me and my voice and my intuition. But for sure, I also do wish I had more formal training, because I think there is like, especially when it comes to communicating with other musicians and just generally communicating and just the like access. So like in my band, I've done the clever thing of working with super talented musicians, and they do both, and they do both really well, and it's really helpful to like sometimes they can see me like struggling to like, okay, I'm looking for something, and they're just like, this is what you're looking for. Yeah. Like, and I'm like, oh yeah. And it's like
prick.
And then sometimes, It's like, thanks. I thought I was doing something deep and profound.
It's actually this chord.
It's just this chord. Yeah. And it's like, and if you'd known your theory, you probably would have got that.
I can relate to that. Man.
Yeah. So I think there is like, there's no one road for sure, and I think there's something beautiful to be picked up from every route. But I think, but generally, I think the musicians who have done the formal training that I like are drawn to also have that thing of like, they have such a unique voice, and they are clearly really connected to like what makes them unique as a musician. So I think
Bit of both.
A bit of both would have been good, but
I think there's always room for like, especially when we get to the stage where we're all at, where we're actually like making music like professionally.
Yeah.
You look back and you like. So I always think I kind of sometimes wish I had played the piano instead of the guitar.
Yeah.
As an obvious one, because obviously when you're on a door,
MIDI controller,
it's all, and do you know what I mean? Like there's like practical things like that where it's like, I wish I'd just if my sister did the piano, I did the guitar.
Right.
If only they swapped us around. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe I'd be a better producer. Yeah. There's always things like that, right? So I hear what you're saying, man. Yeah. So the band thing then, let's touch on that because you mentioned it already. I know you've got a band now. Were you in bands as you're getting, I know you said you played in the church, but were you in bands outside of the church as well?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I was like playing, like the mate who lent me the Nick Drake CD. We were sort of playing guitar together, writing songs together, and we were kind of like in this little duo and with like rotating people kind of coming in. But even then, I wasn't really taking it seriously. I was like on this other, because I was never told that you could do this. So like, I was always thinking this is just a really fun hobby that I love and spend all my time doing, and I can't stop thinking about. So like, and I'll just do that all the time. And so I was playing with mainly like my good mate Tom. So I was just like, we're just writing songs. He had like an 8-track recorder, so we'd like go around to his and like sort of have this microphone and just record all the parts. So I guess that if really, and I've only realized now saying that's probably the earliest bit of
that production. Yeah.
That we did.
Like, as soon as you commit anything to tape, that is technically, for me, that's producing music.
Yeah. So, yeah.
We'll count it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, what happened next? What happened? Where did we progress to after that?
So what happened? We get to about college time. I guess we're thinking about what we're going to be doing for the rest of your life.
Side note, this keeps coming up as well, weirdly. That is a really weird thing that we do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Being 18 and being like, okay, cool, now what do you want to do for the next
Not even 18,
years?
bro. It's like 16.
A-levels, to get you ready for uni, to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to be working for 40 to 50 years. What do you want to do?
I feel like, especially as a man, isn't it? Because like women, I feel like obviously it's not that linear, but they kind of have a little bit more of an idea and a bit more direction. Whereas when you're a young man at 18, you don't. I mean, I didn't have a clue. I still barely know.
I
did chemistry because I was good at it.
I did maths because I could just about do it.
Yeah.
I'm on the unknown path still of like, I don't know what it is that I want to do, and I'm here. And it is nuts, and I hate it at the time, and because I was okay academically, I was, talking earlier about the push that you get from parents and teachers and stuff. So like, I did like maths at A level. And I'm okay. I'm good at maths if I try. I'm not one of those like naturally gifted mathematicians. And it's like it really damages your ego when you like sit next to someone in a maths class and they're like, it's just this.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's the same thing with the chord thing, isn't it?
Yeah. They just see. It's like a beautiful mind when they can just see
the numbers are like literally in front of them. Yeah.
So like, I obviously worked hard enough for GCSE, worked kind of hard in A level, got to uni, and then I think I was just like, honestly, to give myself a benefit of the doubt, I think I was just fatigued of like I was jumping through all these hoops, not for me, for my parents or for like the teachers who keep saying you're good, you should do this. And I remember wanting to like actually take a gap year after college, but it was the year that the school fees cap was being removed, and they're like, if you go to uni now, it's only going to cost you this amount. If you're going to go here, it's going to be 3 times as much.
Oh, so we're the same age then.
The 3K one. Yeah, so I was the 9K one.
No, it was the 3 to 9.
So I was the same.
Yeah, 3 to 9.
I was the last year of 3 to 9 as well. Yeah,
get in there, mate.
That's the reason why I didn't go to uni. I was like, I don't have money for a gap year, but I don't want to go to uni just yet. And then by the time, like literally the next year, I was like, well,
can I just say,
like, it's mad.
Politically, do you remember what happened there? The Lib Dems were like, we're going to lower the fees. And then they got in the coalition.
The coalition,
yeah.
It's tripled.
But that's also the reason.
They got bare student votes, though. I was one of the students that voted for them.
Do you not remember the Conservative Party headquarters getting absolutely trashed by students in London as
That
a
was a
result?
wild time.
Like the one time this country has like revolted properly.
Yeah, the students,
and the Lib Dems have
They haven't recovered.
They haven't recovered.
They haven't recovered
Never.
since. Yeah.
That generation will never forget.
Yeah, no, we ain't forgetting that, man. That was crazy.
Tripling the fee.
It is mad.
I mean, I got in the last year of 1,175.
That was my sister. My sister was the last year
And
of
then
1K.
I think I was the last year and I just got in there and I'd had 2 gap years and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go do it because otherwise I'll regret it and have
2 gap years and 175 a year, bro.
My sister's come out of uni debt free, bro. She ain't got no uni debt, bro. It's
Really, yeah.
It's the same thing. It was like 1K. You can just pay that. Like, yeah.
Well, yeah. The thing is you end up like obviously with more debt than that because you take the loan out that gives you like spending money.
Yeah. But what I mean,
even still, compared to your
yeah.
So you got in for the 3K. Yeah, fair play. Yeah. Fair play.
I mean, well, I then dropped out 6 months later. I don't know whether
was it you went to?
I went to Coventry, so this I'm going to show. This is how bad it was. Like at that point, I just didn't care anymore. Wasn't feeling it, but wasn't self-aware enough to like properly lock into the fact that I'm not happy and this is not what I want.
Yeah.
So when I was picking unis, I typed in maths and closed my eyes, picked. I think I picked 2 random ones and then 2 that offered like a study abroad thing as part of the course. So I was like, oh, cool. With this, if I get into those, I might end up in America, and that would be.
I did the same thing. It's so weird. You're talking.
Yeah,
I literally did the same thing.
It's actually mad.
Yeah, I literally did the same thing. Yeah,
it was horrible, and it's just not. I didn't want to, and I wasn't feeling it, and the truth is, like, I was clearly quite a creative kid, and clearly there was like that side of things was the stuff that I really wanted to nurture, but there was no one, at least in terms of my adult community around me, like who could see that in a way that they were truly nurturing that side of things. And you know, and I'm a very sensitive person in general, so like I was just kind of withdrawing more and more into myself. And so yeah, ended up going to uni, like hated it. Was like, and I remember day one, sat down, and this was before anyone had arrived. People were kind of walking into the lecture hall, and I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. This isn't for me. Why am I here? This sucks. And then it just got worse from there. I got really depressed. But then during that time, I just wrote loads of songs just because that's
outlet.
That's the outlet.
Yeah.
And then there's a friend that I met at a gig. This guy called Tom Edney, who I think at the time I was just like we were just chatting after meeting, and he was like kind of connected to the sort of Manchester music scene. And I remember like being at uni, just sending him these recordings I had of just songs I'd written whilst being super sad, and he was like, oh, these are like really good, and there's a producer that I think you should really meet. And then he like set up a little gig in his like apartment so that I could just meet this like invited like a couple of friends and this producer. And he came and he really liked the stuff, and then that didn't pan out in the end, but it kind of like started this snowball of like, okay, we're gonna do some recordings together. So I had to like write some more songs, and then that's when I left uni. I went traveling for a little bit, and then just slowly just started like kind of transition. That I didn't really choose to perform at that point. It was just like, oh, go do this gig, and then that led to like this other gig, and then this other gig, and then do a little bit of recording here, and that's how my music career like started really.
Where'd you go traveling?
Just Europe, just backpacking.
Like interrailing.
Yeah, I don't even think I did the interrailing thing. I did a lot of hitchhiking. So I remember like flew to Amsterdam, hitchhiked to Germany, like met up with my cousin because he was like he was dating someone it's like a German girl out there, And then like I did Berlin, and then hitchhiked, then got a train from there to like France, and then hitchhiked down to the south of France. Which is mostly thumbing my way through Europe.
Wow.
Which is really fun. Just feels wild to do now.
We're on your own.
But yeah. Which,
when you're young though, you just,
when you're young, you just don't. Yeah, you don't care. You don't care.
Yeah.
And like, and you know, I'm a man. So
so from a safety aspect,
yeah.
black man in Europe though, I will say.
Well, you'd say that.
Well, he stayed fairly west.
And different time. Yeah.
It was a different. It was a different time. And also the other things like there's loads of Africans. So
in like France, I guess.
it was actually quite especially in France that I got picked up by so many Algerians. It was just it was really bad though. It was funny because they'd pick me up thinking I could speak French, and I'd be like, this sucks. This sucks for you. This sucks for me. I can't. There was one time where like I knew more French than they knew English, so I had to like speak broken French to them, and it was just like it was just like this awkward like journey from like Marseille to Lyon, and like it would be silent for like 40 minutes, and then he'd be like, "So Manchester United." I'm like, oui. and then silent for 40 more minutes. 40 minutes. It was like horrible. I was like, yeah.
To be fair, I have that almost like on a monthly basis somewhere in the world, like in a transfer from an airport to a festival or something, didn't you?
Yeah. It's a humbling experience when you realise, like, especially if you're born in England, it's like we just don't know any language.
Yeah. It's really bad.
Any languages.
So
everyone can speak a bit of English at least, but then like there's man out here speaking like 4 languages, like a bit of 4 languages. I can't speak anything, man.
Yeah,
it's bad. So you go out from traveling then. You're recording. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still like, this feels like a huge build up to like the first time you discover. Yeah, because I mean, you really like,
it's when I talk to people and they're like, oh, what do you? It's like the drum and bass thing.
It's kind of new.
It's like it's a really a small chapter in my whole musical journey. Yeah, at that point, I think I just doing loads more music, That's when I started the like Marco Wolf project. Kind of coming out of uni because I had a gig, I needed a name, and that name came up and it stuck, and then just been developing that for ages. Around that time, obviously dubstep was getting huge, and like all my mates were like going out to like these raves, and I just remember thinking, that really horrible, like weird, bad, backward ways of thinking of like, that's not real music.
Yeah, I mean, you've been listening to like Neil Young and that.
Yeah. I mean, like, and it was funny because I was so like, it wasn't even a conscious thing. I was like so elitist to like everything. I was like, the real songwriters are the people who write 3 chords and the truth, man. Like, this is how it is. I'd let go of hip hop, let go of all these things. I'm like, this is what it is.
Forgot about the hip hop thing.
Like this is the truth. And I remember like. And I was like really strong on that. And I remember I was actually still at uni at the time, and someone had sent Jamal Kublai like a it was like a early hospital track, like some illegal download via Facebook. And I just remember seeing it and then clicking it, and then accidentally downloading the track and listening.
Didn't even want it.
Didn't even want it. It was literally like a complete accident. And then I just like I listened to it and I was like, oh, okay. There's just the energy of it and the feeling of it. I was like, oh, I can see why people might want to listen to this. And then for ages, it became like...
That's such a funny take, by the way. I can understand it.
I get it. And I think it was just like, especially that euphoric...
Yeah, the early hospital was super like...
that kind of very feel-good thing.
Uplifting.
Yeah. And it became my gym music for ages and being like, okay, this is like energizing. It's kind of cool to listen to. And then like... And then slowly, and then what was it? Was it Netsky? I don't know how to pronounce the name. When he did his first album, dropped around that time, and I remember like all of my mates loved it, and I was like, okay, cool. This is kind of nice.
That was a self-titled album.
Yeah, and I remember like listening to that and being like, okay, this is like really cool, and it's musically, and I'm like, I kind of get it. And then I think a mate sent me like a Caliber album.
I was waiting for that name to be.
Yeah, and I did. It still took me a while to like latch on, but that was the first time I listened to something being like, oh, okay. There's like, he's trying to say something here. It's not just like, hey, feel good or have fun. It's
or that angst or
there's all this. It's like there's still something. There's like something that he's expressing something. And I remember listening to that and he's been like, oh, this is interesting, really cool. And then just kind of still listen to kind of the more euphoric stuff and just kind of, because it was purely gym music at the time for me, I didn't.
You need the energy. Yeah.
And then but I was still at the same time like listening to like Lensman's music started like appearing, and I was like, oh, this is also cool. This kind of reminds me of like the hip hoppy stuff that I used to listen to, and slowly but surely I suddenly had like a playlist full of like drum and bass, and then and then like I think it was like a very slow thing where like my playlists would just like slowly get more interesting, more into like closer to this kind of stuff that I like now, and the kind of stuff that I make.
So just to go back a little bit then, so when you kind of on the cusp of this drum and bass discovery, what were you listening to? Were you listening to the things that you liked making, or were you listening to other, even more styles of music that we haven't maybe mentioned?
I guess at that point, I just fell in love with hip hop.
Okay.
Because I think I was like, as I was writing and listening to like more jazz, suddenly realizing that, oh my goodness, this is all like these are all the samples, and then going back to, and then like being introduced to Doom was like also another big like change of like, oh, because I guess I've been internalizing all of this like weirdo energy as a creative, and then going back to this world that I had grown up with, that I loved, with fresh ears and
slightly different perspective,
with a different perspective, and suddenly valuing it for like the artistry that it was, and being like, oh, this is like poetry. Like listening to Illmatic with grown ears, it like blows my mind to this day that was written by a 17-year-old kid. Like it's the
same with Mobb Deep as well. They were like 19.
Like NW, all these like crazy culture shifting kids were just like saying the most profound things. And so like having like kind of coming back, having that appreciation, I think I'd just like matured as a listener. And
were you paying attention to the producers as well at that point, or was it really just the overall?
It's just all about like, I don't think I ever really paid attention to like, I didn't pay attention to producers. I didn't pay attention to like, you know, in the jazz world where they talk about who's playing, who's on guitar, who's on Didn't pay attention to other than the name on the album. Had no idea who's playing. Did not know John Coltrane was on Miles Davis's Kind of Blue. Like Miles Davis was over there, John Coltrane was over there. Like, so I was just like sort of taking in this music and listening to it in like a really sort of, once again, in that kind of internal, like looking at the internal world of the music, but suddenly with this fresher perspective, having worked on the craft a little bit. So all of that was still what was happening at the time. And then with the drum and bass, though it was functional at first, I was then slowly bringing that, like, kind of getting over myself and being a little bit more like, okay, this is still music and there's people still trying to do something. There is a thing to be said here. And then also slow, like going to my first raves and understanding, because then I always tell people you won't understand it until you actually go to a rave and actually feel it and see what the community thing is like and all that. All of the other things that make the genre what it is. So all of that was kind of all happening at the same time, and so it was all like bubbling underneath, I suppose.
Nice. Yeah, it's maybe you might be I'm trying to think, like a lot of our guests kind of had the same entry into drum and bass, I would say. Which is obviously still interesting to hear, but I feel like this is maybe a slightly different. Maybe you and Sattel maybe are the two I can think of that have got the more unique kind of entry points into drum and bass? Because most people, it's like, I got a mixtape when I was 16.
The last three people we've had on have had the exact same. It's been like, I listened to a tape on a bus of my mate, pretty much like
Fell in love.
It's been like five of the last 7.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to hear like a different angle. Actually, it's refreshing.
Yeah. So do you remember what clubs you were going to? What raves you were going to when you first started going?
A lot of hit and run.
Yeah.
Shout out.
And then
Another Rich as well, to be fair.
another rich. And then obviously the big one for us was Solution, because that was where hit and run has always had like a student leaning like spin to like their nights, whereas Solution, no one was like, Tokyo Pros was playing us, like, all these other names for us who we only knew from like mixes were like coming to the Solution. And obviously Marcus Intellects is just incredible tastemaker. So those for us were like the nights. And Band on the Wall is
what a venue, man.
What a venue, what a sound system. And I'm gonna put this out on tape. I want club nights to come back.
Yeah, I was going to say they don't do club nights anymore.
No, because that sound system is sick.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's like, I think the combo of clarity as well as weight was, like those nights were amazing. Those are the main ones, I think, for us.
Nice. I mean, pretty
beautiful place to be.
Yeah, I was going to say pretty good.
Manchester have a very like awesome time, and it's.
We talk about Manchester a lot on this pod, don't we? We really do. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Without a doubt, it's iconic.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It was all happening, and it was wild because for us, we were just fans watching it happen, and the like. As you can see, the making came so late for us that it was like at least for me, because at the time we were like starting I know Jamal started messing around with like on Cubase earlier, and I was still just writing songs, but we were like kind of like thinking about it.
Yeah, you're on the cusp of it.
It's all happening, just watching it and being like, okay, this is actually quite great.
It kind of sounds a bit like your experience when you were watching the MCs at school.
Yeah.
What you're talking about now kind of feels like you're kind of you're in the scene.
That's it.
You're in the group. You're kind of taking things in.
And maybe there's like some, because like, going back to the thing of like being part of an audience or being part of like being it on the dance floor versus like thinking about producing. I feel like, I don't know, that having that equal love of like, I want to make stuff and I want to say my piece and express myself, but I also want to hear it and be part of it. And maybe at that stage of our lives, we were like still in that, like, I just want to be I want to be at the party. I want to be at the after party. I want to be on the dance floor when that DJ's playing. Like, I want to be there. And I'm such a cerebral raver as well. I'm such a like,
you're deep in it.
Really like think like what just feel like. I like to watch it, feel it, experience it from like in a real still way, which is like which I always found really funny. And then like, sometimes I'll dance, but I was like, but I loved like being in the middle of the dance floor, feeling that energy, hearing the music, and I was like, this is exciting. And then the feeling of like, okay, I want to touch those decks. Like, I want to touch it. Then came after that. Because I guess at that point I'd like experienced it and understood it in like a real physical, visceral way. And then found a way to like be like, okay, now here's what I would want to say now that I've like internalized all of this energy and all of this feeling.
Yeah.
It feels like genuinely just feels like a fucking trip. What you've just described feels like a trip. That's sick. I love that, man.
I really like how you describe it. You feel like you seem like you really like immerse yourself in it, and then are very like kind of like thoughtful and almost analytical of it into be like, how do you want it to be for you?
What's your version of that?
Yeah, which is really interesting. Really interesting.
You know what, as well, I think actually, I feel like not to take away from what you said, I feel like a lot of us probably do that maybe without realizing. But I think the thing you said about half an hour ago about being in touch with your own intuition, I think is the reason you're able to articulate what you're saying. Basically. Because you're aware of the process.
And also my job means I have to explain, like I've had to think about it a lot, and I've learned to articulate it. But it is just that is like the other thing. Maybe I'd want to say is like I assumed people do this all the time, because you listen to interviews, you listen to you read books about your favorite artists, and they're all kind of saying the same thing of being like, it was fun to listen to, we loved it, we wanted to be a part of it, then we wanted to do it. It just felt like it feels natural, and feels like what everyone would go through it.
The journey to go on.
I feel like you've just really, really gone deep and explained it way better than anybody else probably could.
That's what I'm saying, man. I think because of everything you said before, you're able to really articulate it really well, and like you said, you've taught and stuff, so it makes sense. And actually, it's to be honest, it's actually nice to hear that from someone explain it so well. Because I think obviously we do this podcast a lot, so I've had a chance to think about my own journey a lot. But it's nice, you've just like succinctly put it so well, basically. And I think it's important to talk about, man. And I think not that we ever, we're not teachers or anything, or we're not like we are trying to encourage the next generation of producers, I suppose, in a way. But like if anyone who's listening to this is a new producer, these are the things that actually matter, I would say, versus
100%.
how to EQ that snare or whatever. Like, these are the things that actually matter. So, yeah, I love having these conversations. All right, let's talk about drum and bass then. So, it feels like we've got to this point where, like you just said, you're kind of on the edge, and you kind of know that you want to take part in this scene. How does that first step into actually making it, what does that look like?
I think what you've just said is really important. Like, I can articulate this now. At the time, I don't think I knew that I wanted to be part of it.
Right.
I was just like, I probably don't think I know that now, really. But like, I just started. I downloaded like Fruity Loops or something.
Come on,
and cracked it.
Like everyone.
And then
I work for Fruity Loops, by the way.
Oh, great.
Well, it's so funny because this is literally how the company got big.
Everyone
cracked it, and then the mates are, what should I use? And just get this illegal download.
It was great, and it felt accessible. It didn't feel like super techy.
It's not highbrow. At all.
And I just started like making like, at the time, just sort of general electronic music, not really thinking about what I wanted to do. And it was Jamal actually who was like, "Yo, make drum and bass," and I was like, "Okay, I guess." and then I'd go around to his all the time, because like my parents' house and his parents' house, we lived like just down the road from each other, so I'd like walk down, and then we'd like spend the whole day in his like dining room just making music, like mixing, and just
So you're DJing at this point as well.
Because I think it was all just happening, because I think the DJing thing actually may have started first, but it then was very immediately followed by like making stuff. It was because once again we assumed that it was all one and the same thing, because like all of the DJs we went to see were producers as well, so like we just naturally started doing both around the same time, and that honestly just kept on going. And I think for me at the time, I was like, I'm happy doing this, like spending all this time with my mate making this. We put a couple of tunes on YouTube or whatever. Someone wanted to upload like a tune or something once, and that was like, we're buzzing. And we were talking about sending things to labels, and then for me personally, I was also like, the Marco Wolf stuff was like kicking off, and I was musically, I had stuff to do. And I was.
This was just like a fun side quest, like,
and it was like, and I was happy with it. I was quite content, and then around lockdown, Jamal just started getting really serious with it and just started like going in and then sending tracks out to people, and then he got in touch with Johnny from Gold Fat. And then he was sending tunes to them. They were loving the tunes, and then I'd be like finishing tracks, sending it to him, and then he'd like slyly, without telling me, sending it to Johnny.
Oh, nice.
And then I got a message from Johnny and Grant just being like, "Yo, we really love this this tune, and I was like,
what?
what?
Yeah.
And then that was the tune that went on to the VA. So like that's how I got into the like scene, and then that tune, that was the tune that like Taste, like Lensman started playing that out, and then I remember seeing a video of him playing it, and I messaged him and I was like, yo,
that must have been, you know, it's funny, I had like, what was your first big break written down? That kind of feels like, maybe that was it. That was it. Seeing Lensman play your tune.
Yeah, it was like, and it was wild. And I remember because I'm not really a big social media person, so you know, I'm on there, but I'm very lurkery and I don't really post that much.
Yeah.
And then like, I remember sitting there, my partner was like next to me. She was like, I was like, oh, Lensman's been playing my tunes, and she was like, oh, you should say something. And I was like, well, really? Like, it's kind of cool, but do I have? It's like, yeah, go message him. And then I was like, oh, I think, you know, thanks for supporting. Can I send you some tunes? And he was like, yeah, do it. And then I sent him a batch, and then that's when Affirmative Action was in that collection. And then so it was weird because I started the year with a release on Gold Fat and ended that year on the like North Quarter VA, and I was like,
that went
fast,
0 to 100,
and it was mind blowing.
And this probably would have been when Lensman started talking to me about you, to be fair, because he was super excited when he just kind of discovered you got in contact with him. We talk because obviously talk a lot about music or whatever. Yeah, he mentioned you a lot, man.
Oh man,
yeah.
And it's been really beautiful to hear just how much he's been, because I bumped into Freddie for had a really good chat with him at Sun and Bass last year, and he was like, man, like Lensman like talks about you a lot, and I'm like, this is really it means a lot to.
Well, I mean, for all of us, right? It's like that for. Especially on the Liquid side, like me and my mates at uni used to rinse the mixes he did with Dan Stevens. He was like, he's the guy. He still is. Like he's the guy. So a vote of confidence from someone like that, it's huge, right?
It does wonders for your confidence.
Yeah,
big time. And it like completely, like, because I love the fact that I didn't plan to like be a drum and bass DJ producer. And then like now that I'm here to then get confident to be boosted up like that, I've just been like, okay, I can actually run here, and I can actually, this is a place where I can express, which is the biggest lesson, is the fact that I can be myself here too. And then maybe that's part of the reason why I never really saw myself here. It was because like, oh, maybe I can't fully be my expressive self in the drum bass scene, and he's just like, nah, you can. And
because he was saying to me like a while back, like you like paint and stuff as well, and obviously talking about the band. So it feels like I've always said that before we even have this conversation, I always just thought you're one of those people that's just like a general creative almost. And then you just kind of pick and choose how you want to express that, you know? Yeah, general creative, there you go. And you just kind of pick and choose lanes where you can just be like, okay, I can do a bit of this here, a bit of that. And not everyone has that, man. I wouldn't say I have that, for example. I think I'm good at maybe like one or two things. Whereas
I feel like I'm okay at many.
Yeah,
but that's what makes a creative, right?
I mean,
someone who's like,
not about being a master of everything. Yeah, like you can just decide one day I'm going to paint something.
You don't measure yourself based on your ability and the results you get. You base yourself on the fact that you're willing to have a crack at it.
Do you know what I mean?
That's what really creatives are, right?
I'll take that. There is because I guess that is, which is what the thing I was talking about earlier of like for me it's about the expression and the self-expression and the things that I want to say, and sometimes a painting says it better than a song, and it is just how it what I feel at the time, and and I'm not, once again, it's really easy to talk about it hindsight, but as I'm doing it, because the painting, it was lockdown, everybody was going online, like doing all these doing performances and gigs online, and
making banana bread.
Can't do that. I am not that kind of public facing person, especially online. It just doesn't. I need people in the room. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna quit music for this period and I've always wanted to learn how to paint, and then just like started painting and spending 7 hours a day paint, and then just loved it, and that was it. That was all that was. It wasn't. It didn't feel like, and now I'm going to be a painter.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I've always been like that.
I mean, to me, that's we have this conversation all the time. Like I'm in like loads of group chats with like DJs and stuff, and it's like the kind of topic of like why do we create comes up quite a lot, and it's really that. I think you just kind of said it really nicely. It's like it's almost like a need rather than a want. It's like I just need to do something, and it's less about the audience that's going to see it or how it's going to be received. It's more about I just need to do this, get this thing out, and just do it, which is kind of sounds like why you started painting, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to do it. I need to do it.
And like going back to the work that I do, so, you know, I do like music production workshops and creative workshops with young people. And that's super important for me because of that why. Because it's so, when you watch a kid just smash something and be like, yeah, I've done it. And you're like, okay. Yeah, you have. Like this is why I do what I do. Like sometimes it's like so easy to forget when you get caught up by especially with the craft of it and all the technical stuff. That is important and it's part of the journey, but it can make you forget like what am I doing? Like, okay, I just feel kind of sad, or I feel kind of happy, or I feel kind of like whatever, and I just wanted to like express that in a way that I just needed to get this out. It's like, cool. Or I feel like I've got this weird energy and I just need to hit or paint or do something just to get it out of my body. It's like, oh yeah, that's thank you, kid, for reminding me that. I just need to do that.
Yeah. No, it's so true, man. So where are we with the VA?
Yeah.
North Quarter. I should have, because I made some notes, you know. I say it wasn't structured, but I always like to remember things that I want to talk about. And this probably came a bit later. I think this came after your 2024 EP, which I forget the name of. Thing with Feathers is the latest one.
Oh, Impressions of a...
Yeah, Impressions of a Still Life.
Still Life, yeah.
You did a mix on Rinse.
Yes.
Which I've listened to so many times.
Oh.
It's if you guys haven't heard it, you need to listen to this mix. It's so sick.
Oh.
It's like super multi-genre, goes into jungle and drum and bass, but you're playing like scissor and stuff in there. Like, I just remember that mix. Yeah. And I think I knew about your tunes at that point already, but then I think when I heard that mix, I understood you more, like your musical makeup more. I don't know why I'm even talking about this. I just wanted to say it was really good, basically. I didn't have a question. Like, do you know what I mean? I just love that mix, man.
It's good to
hear.
No, I honestly love that mix. It's so good.
So, I mean, well, I guess it's something that we've completely skipped over. So me and Jamal had a radio show.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
With Freeform Radio, which is like a Manchester-based radio station. We had it for like 2 years or something. It was like all before lockdown, and then when lockdown happened, and then me and Jamal, we just got a bit busy. We decided to stop it. But yeah, we interviewed Break back when he wasn't really doing interviews. It was mad.
Nice.
And so I've always enjoyed putting like together mixes, and I've always enjoyed like, you know, crafting radio shows and having an idea. But you know, because it's me, I always like a good concept. I always like to like channel the thing into like. I always talk about like, what do I want to say with this mix? Like, what is it that I want to like? Especially if it's something that's going online and people can listen to it.
Yeah,
back.
It's like immortalized. It's there forever.
Yeah, then I'm like, okay, well, I kind of want to say something, and it makes it a bit more interesting for me as well, rather than just like chucking some tunes on. I'm like, okay, let me have a theme, and let's start from there, and then just see what comes. And I love the idea of like, I've always made playlists for myself and for friends, and one of my favorite things is to be like, I've got this tune and it's like this Baroque classical tune, and I want that to make sense with this like dirty jungle tune. Like I want it all to kind of work and someone to listen to this whole collection and be like, yeah, I can see why those two things are in this place. So I think Yeah.
It works, man. Yeah, I mean, I haven't mentioned it on the podcast before, but I've got a playlist now which is just called 2026 Mix, where there's no rules in terms of the genre. It's just if I hear a tune that I want to be in the mix, and I have a certain feeling about it, I'm putting it on this playlist. So eventually I'm going to make a mix where it's just like every genre known to man, but like they all kind of fit together somehow. Because I think that's the beautiful thing about music, right? There's a connecting thread between all of it. So I think that's why I like the mix so much. It makes sense when you listen to the whole thing. It really does make sense. Yeah. So well done on that. That was great. Great work on that. We need more mixes from you as well. Make some more mixes.
I've been working on. Maybe I should say it so that I actually do it. But like I've been working on, like, to tie in with the EP. I've been slowly working on this. Like, I'm not even calling it a mix. It's kind of like an audio essay.
Okay.
And I've just been like I started it like maybe this time last year, and I've just been like writing little bits, and then like a song will appear, and I've got this like playlist that I've just been gathering all these tunes and all these voice notes and all these like thoughts that I've written down that I want to stitch together into like this kind of audio essay about something.
Yeah.
About grief, I suppose, but like it's a bit more than that, because I was like, how do I talk about grief without talking about grief? And then just started doing all of that.
Yeah.
So that's gonna come.
I'm excited for that, man.
At some point.
Even though it's about grief, I'm excited for that.
yeah. Well, this is the thing. It's like, which is the whole point. This whole project was like, how do I talk about this thing without whilst being honest, but also making it fun and healing.
It's still drum and bass as well.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some of the older projects first before we get there, because we do want to talk about the thing with Feathers. One thing I noticed with a lot of your projects is you collaborate, but it's with people that I would say are lesser known. And like, I just wrote a few down. This Feeney, Jude the Obscure, Meme Gold, MNQ, LAOD. Yeah. Are these friends? How are you finding these people?
Friends.
John wants the source.
Like, what's
that?
Well, to be honest, like the one, so I didn't put Idea on there because she's then gone on to do more collaborations. Since I think maybe you were the first, maybe to do a tune, or one of the first. I mean, Vespertine. What a track, by the way! Like,
thank you.
Maybe the track you're most well known for at this point. Like, unbelievable tune, and her on that tune. The first verse sung, second verse rapped, both equally as good as each other. Like, it's an insane track.
Ridiculous tune. So original,
yeah.
So good. She's amazing. Friends.
Yeah.
First and foremost. And I think this is like, if I was going to throw out advice, it's just like, the cool thing with immersing yourself in multiple places is that you get a much more interesting and vibrant network. So a lot of people mess me like, how do you find vocalists? And I'm like, honestly, they're pals, and I met them at this gig that I went to. And like, so if you go out there and be part of the thing, you will come across these incredibly talented people. So all of them have been friends that I've met, and like for example with Anaya Idea, who like because I think I met her with like To Be Frank and Pierre Czar and Channel all around the same time. And I remember like I got sent like this little mixtape that she'd like been working on of these like demos, and I was like, this is the most interesting like production I've heard, and have like her singing was amazing. I was like, you could tell that she's also someone else who's like super creative, like does loads of painting, like really has this very broad universe in her brain. And I was like, okay, let's connect. I want to, let's chat, let's see what's happening, and let's try to make something. And that's the same.
She Manchester based as well?
She's based in Manchester as well.
Okay, nice. Just what city for that, man.
It's
got bare talent.
And I think that's something about Manchester, is it is so community. Like once you kind of like get into the scene, as soon as you bump into someone, you then see them everywhere. You're so connected. And
I feel like that just playing there, to be honest. Like when I go up there, I'm like, I met you at like 5 other gigs. Like you really do get that whole like community. Even the show, because we all did that show, didn't we? Like the other day, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So we always talk about it, man. Like I think that's the key difference between there and London. London's obviously such a big city that it feels like there's not one big community. It's like we're friends, but then there's like probably a whole crew in like Southeast.
Yeah.
That we're connected to, but we're not like part. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was a brief period. There was a little bubble for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Sort of like anybody that was anybody seemed to come down to a Soul in Motion event.
Yeah, we did have it because we had that. Yeah, we had a kind of like our central meeting place, which was, I think, Sim was
Fortnightly.
I think that's a good show.
Free
When
event
we live
midweek.
together as well, like, you know, that helps, doesn't it? So that you're like,
But even then, though, like
to...
the crew, like the people that we were around, like Perez, Hanajes, SP, that was because they lived 5 minutes away from.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's not like, do you know what I mean? It's like a localized thing rather than like.
But
Anyway,
guess, a city this big, it's hard.
It's rare
to do that.
Yeah.
You get it in Bristol,
Yeah.
but Bristol's significantly smaller.
Yeah. And Manchester is also like, yes, it's a big city, but actually it's still quite small and the other things like how the community transcends genre. So all the drum and bass heads, all the jazz heads, all the hip hop heads, all the like
the neo soul,
all in the same group. We all go to the same parties and we all see each other all the time, and that makes such a big difference. So which makes it really easy to then be like, I saw you at this like jazz gig. Would you be up for like working together in that way? And
see that's baked into Manchester though, isn't it? Like, because am I right in thinking like famously bands from up in Manchester, artists, acts, like were always neglected compared to like London-based UK artists and acts.
Yeah.
The big labels didn't have to pay to send people up there and bring people down. It was like, you're around the corner, easy peasy, right? And so there was always this like desire for a self-sustaining network and community within Manchester across the board with artists, isn't it?
That's what's helped fueled its success.
Yeah, man. 100%.
Because it's almost like a vendetta.
and
rightfully so.
So fucking here for it though.
As soon as like if I look throughout the history of like D&B as you know, from my perspective, which is relatively substantial, and I think about what DRS did from a like MC perspective and who then got brought through, like, you know, it was very London centric MC wise until he just broke the glass ceiling and then just
all his mates came through as well.
Smashed everyone out the park. And like now, if you think about MCs, you know, like you said, obviously spanning a number of different genres, but effectively, you know, even like you're looking at like dance music, like if you break down to like dubstep, drum and bass, like hip hop, like, you know, like predominantly electronic music, it can ramp with anything really. And I miss Manny a lot because I don't tend to get, I haven't had a book in there for a long time, and it tends to be maybe someone who's like an up and coming promoter who's doing something different, because otherwise it's like
you've got 100 MCs there.
It's like, you know,
they don't need to tap into the rest of the country, man. They've got such raw talent up the road,
and they look after the community like that, and I get it, you know. I miss it a lot because whenever I go up there I feel really at home, because
but you miss it for the right reasons, innit?
Well, I always like, even, you know, when I knocked about with them a bit more like at festivals and stuff, I'd be like, you're a bit northern in disguise sort of thing, so I feel that warmth up there. So I do miss it a lot, but I totally understand why, because at the end of the day you're utilizing the community around you, supporting it, helping it to grow, and it has been such, I think it was crazy, man. Like there was like a few years where it just came in and just went smash London to pieces. It was like, fuck you lot, we do our own thing, we support each other, everyone's getting bought for, everyone's like posting about each other, they're all working together. It's such a beautiful thing that I think London, partly because it's huge, but also I think
dog eat dog.
People are a bit more dog eat dog and a bit more protective. Like I always say, and I've said many times in this podcast, that from an MC perspective, Dell was one of the first people to support me, rather than Londoners were not afraid of me, I wouldn't say that, but they was like, oh, is he coming for my spot? Whereas Manny's like, wait, welcome.
Come on.
Let's make this bigger and better with all of us. I think it's such a beautiful...
And it's nuts to me, because I was thinking about the competition element of things is just a fallacy. It's just a lie. Like there's always space for something good. Like, you know, when Rihanna popped up, she wasn't you could say they're competing chart wise, but she popped up. Like there's always gonna be space for, whether that's in the pop world.
The keyword you said was good though.
Yeah.
The reason I'm saying that is because I think the reason people feel competitive is because everyone's doing the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's competitive if you're all
Doing
the same thing. If you're doing something unique, there's no one for
You're just doing you.
yourself to do.
There's space for you, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
It's a really good point.
And I think where communities are really important is that you can say that to some, like when someone comes in and be like, oh, I really like you, man. Like you come do you do your thing. Then you learn to be like, okay, there is space for me. I can just be myself. I don't have to like be DRS times 2. Like,
and I think that's why the North Core as a label also is so successful as well, because I think Lensman's really got the eye for like there's art, like the artists all fit together, but you can pick apart each artist in terms of their style and what they're actually bringing.
Yeah.
Which curation is everything, man. Like it's same way. Like also we have to shout out Johnny at Gold Fat as well, man. Because there's certain labels like Solvent back in the day, Gold Fat, where like a lot of good
Johnny
artists
is killing it, man. In terms of the big artists that are coming through, he has helped like give that first platform to, and that's to that.
He's taking all the risk as well, man.
Yeah, that man needs like a sort of Key to the City vibe, but for drum and bass. Give it to him,
like big time, and because they also set it up right, so like you as like a first time for first proper release and the first like taste of what a label could be. They're like you come into Gold Fat and it's like, right, we're a community here. First of all, it's that you join the Fat Fam group, and in the group we're just chatting about like talking about life, giving each other like advice on our work. Like it's instantly collaborative from the get go. And then when you like, I don't know, you kind of leave there feeling super empowered, super confident, and it's just a much healthier way of like running something rather than just like throwing your tune out to a label in the dark and then it comes out and you're like, okay.
Yeah, a bit of a black box
like,
type vibe. Yeah.
What does that mean? And then you feel like you're having to like do all the work yourself. And then that's when the idea of like competition will probably start getting into your head. But when Gold Fat, like, I can talk about, I always have space and time for them. Like I always, because I think I remember like Johnny saying when he was here, it was like, oh, he always invite me to stuff. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm always going to say yes. Like they were I just have so much time for what they do. It's like so beautiful.
So let's talk about, let's go back to the North Quarter then. We spoke about Vespertine, we spoke about the EP. Obviously, you've got this new project, which obviously I forget the time frames of when my film investment things come out. It's already out anyway. Yeah. It's already out. The Thing with Feathers. Firstly, the name.
The name.
Yeah.
It's inspired by like my favorite poem. Well, no, it's not my favorite poem. That's not true. This is a lie. One of my favorite poems is by Emily Dickinson, which is "Hope is the Thing with Feathers," and then there's a little short novella / short book called "Grief is the Thing with Feathers," which is also a book that I love, which I loved before experiencing grief, and then went back to that book, and I was like, oh,
it's different.
Yeah. And so like it was kind of like because it was that playing around in that line of like how do you find hope in the midst of grief, and so I was just like the Thing with Feathers.
Also, weirdly, a film that's come out or is coming out. It's called The Thing with Feathers.
There's with Benedict. I think it's the film of the book.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I literally saw that like today. I was like, that's odd. Yeah.
With I think Benedict Cumberbatch in it or something like that.
And the way this project's been put together, it feels almost like an album, right? We were talking about this, weren't we? Or you were saying it, weren't you?
I was saying it, yeah.
Yeah, before you arrived, it's like, was it 6 or 7 track album? Yeah, but it's like got the feel of an album in the way that you've put it together. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing, we've kind of got this whole thing that you think about.
Journey.
Yeah. Obviously, you conceptualize things before, it feels like before things are written.
Yeah, and I think once again, it's just the assumption that because of everything I was listening to was like concept albums, and I just thought that's what you did.
Yeah.
So I think I approach almost every project like an album, and like even with like the first North Quarter EP, I was like, this is what I had an idea of like, this is what I want to say, and this is the theme that I'm kind of going for with this collection of music. And yeah, it was just similar with this, where I was like, I guess especially when you go through something as big as grief, it's like the way that I make music, I can't like run away from that. Like there's no way I can write a song and it not be about that.
Whatever you're experiencing, yeah.
So I was kind of like, before I started making any music, I had to kind of safeguard myself a little bit and be like, okay, you're about to write some griefy music, whether you want to or not. How do you want to do this? Like, how do you want to like how are you going to approach this in a way that's healthy and fun, and you're not going to cause a panic attack at the club? Like, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I can't be playing a tune in mid set and just everything shuts down.
Yeah.
To prepare myself. So I was like, okay, these are but also still be honest. And I think that's where the concept was like started to come out from there, and be like, okay, I found a way of like, and those two poems and the fact that, you know, it's playing with this imagery. I was like, here's a perfect way of me being truthful, but also aiming for this like more hopeful and more like enjoyable outward looking place. So yeah, there was that. And then also I made the decision quite early, before I made any of the music, being like, okay, I want, it needs to be community like focused. I need to like lean on friends and bring people into the world. Otherwise, if it's like too solitary, then that's when I could get a little bit too down. I need to be able to write something and give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
And for them to like put their own spin on something, and then I can listen to it more objectively and be like, this is beautiful, and enjoy it, rather than being like, I remember that day I couldn't go to get out of bed, you know.
Yeah. And one thing I was just thinking about, because obviously we have kind of skipped over the fact that you sing. We've talked about it. Like, there's so many things we need to talk about. We'll have to have a second. We always said, but we're going to have a second podcast is happening for sure. How do you decide when you need to sing and deliver the story, the words, versus having someone else do it? Because I guess you're in quite, like, a lot of producers don't have the ability to sing on tracks. I wish I did. I'm a terrible singer. So for me, I need vocalists to be able to add the extra thing that I need them to add or whatever. So yeah, how do you determine who does that?
Like, it's weird because like, I think this project was the first one where so Too Soon, which is the closing track, is the first track where I wrote it on guitar, sung it, and then
like flipped it
like
into,
kind of flipped it and then gave it to somebody else. Because I think it's interesting, because what's kind of naturally happened is like the drum and bass project and the live jazz project have kind of become like these two sides of this coin, where I go to one when I don't want to be in the other space. So like so it feels quite natural for a lot of the note stuff. I will tap and reach out for vocalists because I'm in a more like producery headspace, and I don't want to sing. I don't want my voice to be front and center. Yeah.
But you do sing on some tracks though, right? I'm thinking of the tune you did with Zara and Verbs, maybe?
No, that's Verbs.
Really?
Verbs.
Wow.
Verbs has got a gorgeous voice.
Wow, okay, I did not know. I thought that was you singing.
Yeah, no.
Okay, wow.
People keep saying this.
Okay.
Like, I think I saw an article saying like, or like a little review of that track of the EP saying, oh, Richard's like Note's voice. I'm like, that wasn't me, man.
That's actually crazy. I literally had no idea. That's actually crazy.
Yeah, he's a great singer.
Yeah.
I've done some low key singing in like very like just like
background. Where you sampled it all. Yeah.
And like I did a track, like I sung on a track for Jamal, like on a Goldfat tune, but generally I don't really sing on my own.
Interesting.
On my productions, purely from that, because it is that thing of like I don't want my voice to be front and center. I've got this whole other world where my voice is front and center.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then this is like, I'm not saying it won't ever happen, but it just where I'm at the moment, it just happens to fall that way.
No, it's interesting as well, because I feel like Caliber, obviously we all kind of like idolize this guy, I feel like his early stuff he didn't sing on any of his tunes.
It's very true.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah,
and then like more recently, most of it, not most, but like half maybe of his tunes he sings on.
Yeah.
So it does feel like maybe
in his own like subtle way.
Yeah. I think, and I guess it's a confidence thing as well. Like, because there's also an aesthetic that I like on drum and bass that I can't do with my voice.
Yeah.
So there is that element of like, whenever I do sing on tracks, I'm like, this would be better if someone else sang it, or like I'm trying to do something that isn't me.
But do you write the lyrics ever, and then, or do you? Yeah, how does the lyric writing process?
The lyric writing process. What I like to give people a lot of. I like to collaborate. So generally speaking, I do give it. I'm like, you write, but because I am a songwriter, I am also very particular and very like, very. There's like things that I just have. I'm like there's phrases and things that I just don't accept, and I just don't like. Not just out of taste and I'm very as you. I
was gonna say you had this conversation before, but
go on.
Like I'm very like, if I hear something and I'm like, oh, this could be interesting, I'm not afraid to like say it because I've got like that. You've
got the insight. Yeah,
I honestly really appreciated it and loved it because it's such a refreshing approach compared to just someone being like,
yeah, that's cool.
No,
and
you actually gave me more to work with and gave me some like substance and just like direction that when you're working remotely, is really helpful. And obviously you were like second verse. Fine, like, but make the first one more like that, and then gave me a little bit more direction. It was honestly, it was like everything you said made total and utter sense, and it was, it's interesting to hear you like speak about it now because it's obviously like, oh right, yeah, cool. I honestly really get it, and it like at the end of the day, it's your tune. And it's only going to make it better. And this would obviously be happening in the studio environment if you're like writing off the cuff.
You could just have that conversation.
So. Yeah, the way they went about it was you approached it perfectly.
Yeah, because I think it's like I think it's super important. Like it still has to feel like a collaboration, and I never like if I've written the song, I'll come in from the get go being like I've like with Too Soon, I was like I've written the song, it's about this. I'd love you to sing it. But if I'm asking someone to come on board, I'm like I'm asking you for you, and I want to hear what you feel and what you can hear in this music, but like I said, there's a feeling that I'm trying to capture, and there's a feeling, and it's also quite beautiful when you hear, because like when I sent you that tune and I heard you then start talking about the earth and talking about like all of these lyrics, and I'm like, it's beautiful that you've seen that, and I'd love to like, and that I'm like, this right here is what I'm also connecting to, and I feel like the beautiful collaboration is then when you then meet in that beautiful middle bit where like I wouldn't have got there on my own and you wouldn't have got there on your own.
Yeah.
And then that's something beautiful. And
that is the essence of two people collaborating. Yeah.
Oh, writing to that was one of my favourite moments of this year. Like just being on a beach in Lanzarote, having your like palette and just being like sweet and just let loose and go nuts. It was like the perfect like mix of things to create something beautiful. Yeah,
so collaborations obviously was a big part of this project. And do you, I guess, there's a question in my head. I was like, because it's for me and for you as well, like we work in collaborations 100% of the time. So it's like, I do write music solo sometimes, but it's never to be released. It's just like a thing I need to do just to get this feeling off or whatever. Like, as you were describing
emotional
earlier.
one.
Yeah, baby, you remember when of the breakup, bro. So we lived together for like 2-3 years, and like during lockdown, I came out of a long-term relationship. And a week before lockdown, so it was like the worst period. And I was just writing these tunes, like just sad garage tunes. That's sort of Sarage.
I've been like working towards this like sort of multi-genre, very much not D&B, like anything from like a sort of 80, 90 BPM to like 140 project. And I was like, oh, can you send me something for it? And it literally was titled Emotional One.
But like you said,
you have to get it out. You have to get it out somehow.
You know, I'm here for
and
it,
it's a skill set that we've got. So it's like, how else do I get it out? So from a solo perspective, it's normally that I'm just like, I'll have an idea or whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, we work in collaborations 100% of the time, so it's like, for us, almost like everything we want to say musically is a decision between two people plus whoever else you're working with. With you being a solo artist, but being so big on collaboration as well, like, there's a way I'm trying to word this question. Like, do you feel like you're always fully realizing the thing that you want, whether you're doing it solo or whether you're doing it in a collaboration?
Good question.
Good question. I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but like there's an element of like this unknown. I don't know what it is, what the finished thing is when I start a thing. So like Vespertine, for example, was something I wrote because I was like, there was a period where I was like, oh, I think I was just laughing at the idea of like piano rollers. And I was like, what would I kind of wanted to make one, but also do it like me. And I wrote Vespertine, and then I wrote the tune that ended up being on the Shogun VA. And I had those, like, I just kind of made them. And then around the time we were finishing off the Impressions of Still Mind EP, Lensman was like, oh, it might be good to get like a vocal track on there. And I was like, well, I just did this like piano-y thing. So, just did this piano-y thing. Can I, like, I'll send you that. Do you like it? And he was like, yeah, this sounds sick. Have you got any ideas of who you'd want to be on it? And I was like, yeah, I really want to work with Anaya. And so like, when I started, I had what the end game wasn't there in my brain until I then first got the first sketches of like what Anaya did. So like, I think there is an element of like, because it's unknown, I don't know how it's going to end. I think the journey is so embedded as in part of the like, in the making of the music and
the end result as well.
The end result. So it's like, it's really, because on some of my solo tracks as well, it's like you also don't know how they're gonna wear that. Like, for example, Multitudes was really interesting. Like, it kind of went on a journey. Super sick tune, by the way. In like a shape. Thank you.
Super sick tune.
And where it landed, I was like, this is. I listened to it back and be like, whoa, I don't know how we got to here, but I think the journey is so embedded in the actual music creation that it's hard to like be like, I don't know how to answer.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I get what you're saying. And I guess, again, even in a collaboration, it's almost like that to an extreme, because I'll start an idea. Mm-hmm. The thing you can't do is be precious about the initial bit, because it's like, I'll start an idea and then I'll send it to Tom, but I've already in my head probably thought about how I could develop it further. But because I need to, it's a collaboration, so Tom has to work on it. Yeah. He's going to hear it completely different to me and get different ideas, and then the tune's just going to go left.
Yeah.
But like, obviously neither of us, that wasn't planned. It was just like, work on it, right? And so I get what you're saying, basically. It's like
there's like a surrendering to whatever the journey is.
Yeah, like, literally.
And even if you're working on your own, like, it's almost like, what I'm working on today is a collaboration with what Richard did yesterday.
Yeah.
And the headspace that I was in, because I always find that really funny, of like, you know, when you're like, oh, let me just work for 1 more hour, and you're going to make decisions in that, like, that time that you just wouldn't make. I'm just not going to make tomorrow morning. And
sometimes they're bad.
Sometimes I should have just left it. Leave this for tomorrow, Richard.
Yeah, but also sometimes you need to get it done before you go into tomorrow, because you know you're like onto something. And it's like if I'm writing a bar, I'm like, I need to get this out now, because tomorrow it's going to all mean a completely different thing, and then it's like a little bit disjointed.
Yeah. So even as a solo artist, there is that same feeling of like, I will, like, you wake up tomorrow and be like, what the hell is this guy?
It's the morning is, isn't it?
Yeah, he knows nothing about it.
Yeah, really interesting take. Like, tomorrow, Richard.
It's so true though, man.
Yeah, it really
it's so true. Every producer's had that experience where you think you've written the best song ever, and then the next thing you listen to it, like, this is trash. Like, we've all had that. And
then what then happens is that you then listen to the same track 6 months later,
And you're like,
and you're like,
"Oh."
how the hell? How the hell did I do that? Yeah.
Such a good idea.
It's so funny, isn't it?
funny,
You know what?
yeah.
Jacob actually had a bar about it in one of his tunes, and I can't remember what tune it was, but he literally raps about like getting sent a beat by a producer when he was on the road. Wasn't really feeling it, and then like 3 years later or something, he listens to the same beat. And it's like, this is the one.
Yeah.
And like wrote something super quick.
Yeah,
and it just came out, and it was like perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, he literally raps about it.
Mood
It's-
music.
It's so true, man. I could have this conversation forever, by the way, but we have got to wrap things up slightly. But I wanted to, so we have a couple of questions from our Patreon and Instagram, and I also have some general questions that I want to ask you as well, just to lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, this has been an incredible chat.
Yeah.
we need to do it. We need to do it again.
I'm happy to.
We need to do it again. But yeah, we've got to, just for interest of time, Patreon questions. So where should we start? Okay, they're all mostly about DJing actually, which is interesting. And I've seen you, by the way, yeah, it's funny because I feel like you as an artist, yeah, you're one of those artists there, your taste is so dialed into my taste that when I see you DJ, I'm like, oh, I used to play this tune, or like, I've not heard this tune in ages.
Yeah.
Even the set of their thing at Rebellion,
Yeah.
you played a Caliber bootleg or a 0T bootleg that I've not heard in so long of like an R&B tune. I can't remember what the tune was, but like, it was like, anyway, it's like, that's what I'm talking about. That's a tune that I think maybe Lensman played in the mix like 10 years ago. I loved it. I used to play it. Anyway, so yeah, it's cool that we've got some DJ related questions because I'd actually like to know the answer to these as well. So Matt Ball asked, what was a track that will never leave your sets?
Ooh. Do I have that kind of track?
Yeah, D.
So that,
Cool. No, I was just going to say, like, you don't strike me as the kind of person that's like clinging on to stuff like that.
no, and I mean this in like, not even in like I think there's just so much good music.
Yeah,
like, there's so much good music.
Yeah, facts.
It's really hard to like be like, oh, this is this one track. There's like I'm trying to think like, what have I been playing recently all the time? There's a tune that I guess, what's it called? Hilltop View.
Yeah, it's like Lensman tune. No, is that Switch and
Perez maybe?
Yeah, is it Switch and someone?
Yeah.
That's like an old tune, isn't it?
Oh no, old tune. That one always like, if I like come across it as I'm scrolling, I'm like, yeah, probably.
Yeah, stick that one in.
I'm trying to think of any others, but yeah. I'll for the sake of
good answer.
I'll pick that one.
All right. I think I already know the answer to this question. Andrew says, do you plan your sets or freestyle it?
Freestyling.
Yeah. I thought that might be the case.
The jazz lives too strong in me.
Yeah. And then are there any ones that got away? So tracks that you wanted but never got a copy of?
Oh. Probably, but I don't know. Like, I'm sure I've gone to lots of Caliber sets.
Yeah, which is like,
he's got like
three-quarters of his music. It's just, it will come out in 12 years.
Yeah. Shelf life 150.
Yeah, shelf life. Yeah,
waiting for that 100.
Yeah, I'll hear that one. I'll get that one on 75. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, but no, I can't.
Cool. So then we've kind of started doing this like regular question series at the end. Okay, I think you'll have a really interesting take on this one. Views on the AI wave in production right now.
Well, okay. So there's a quote that someone said about AI recently that I found interesting, about something about currently AI in its current form can only look backwards and not forwards.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. And I think because my journey, as you've heard, comes from such a personal, person-centered thing, like I have lots of thoughts about how AI affects the workforce. I have lots of feelings about how but that's not just isolated to AI. I think generally, culturally, like the protection of and the support of the arts as viable careers, I have a big feeling about, and the way that, you know, all these arguments that we have about whether AI is helpful or not helpful, I feel like don't matter if culturally we don't respect and care about, you know, the workforce, of the creative workforce. In terms from a creative perspective, it's not going to stop me from creating, and I don't think it's not going to stop the appetite for someone who really wants to say something.
Yeah.
And whether people use it as a tool or not, that's, I guess, it's the honesty and of that will be down to the person. But yeah.
Have you have you thought about or seen ways in which you could use it, which you could kind of get on board with?
I suppose, I guess it's like stem splitting has been like probably the most, because I mean, I come from sampling anyway, and that's been the most like the quickest thing to like jump on board. But I don't know because I don't really pay attention enough to like really know, and also now because we're so like quickly it's being integrated into everything, so there'll be tools that I guess I'll start using that I don't even know
is like AI powered. Yeah.
But a big one though from mentoring people is that I work with a lot of kids and a lot of young upcoming artists who like don't know anything about like the funding world, and I'm like, AI won't make a bad idea good, so you still kind of have to do the work, but it's as a language tool, it's powerful, and it can make certain funds accessible for people who might not be able to access them. So that's one thing I've been like, if you're going to use AI to like help get your idea to come across to somebody who can maybe offer you some money to do a really good creative idea, then
utilize it that way.
Power to you.
It's a good response to that. D&B Icks.
Oh, I have many icks.
Oh, let's go. That's what we want.
No. I mean, I have many icks about. So
this is a safe space, by the way.
It's a safe space. Okay.
It's just going out on the internet.
It's just going out on the internet. Yeah.
Safe space.
No. Honestly, I think general icks are just like, I don't know if they're even icks. They're just like, I hate unsafe spaces for women, trans people, queer people. And I think any sort of conversation, like any of that kind of like laddie chat that happens at like raves, I get like about.
Yeah.
And then generally speaking, I think because drum and bass is such like a DIY, it comes from such a DIY route, I sometimes feel like it's beautiful, and as a community focused genre and everything, it's really beautiful and I love it. But there's also certain things that it's really behind on, and like, so like I've just mentioned about the idea of like applying for funding for things is for many people will be a foreign concept. Like I wonder how many drum and bass producers knew that the Arts Council had like a grassroots fund that they've been running for like, I think they ran it from October, like for like 6 months last year, which I'm like, I can name 100 people who would be amazing to get those. And once again, that's not not solely their fault. I think it's the Arts Council fault, and I've got lots of icks with the Arts Council. But it's that kind of thinking. It's like it's not very organized.
Yeah,
and that grinds my gear. Like poor organization, lack of respect, all of those things. Like which is unfortunately quite prevalent in the DIY music scenes, including drum and bass.
It's weird because in so many ways drum and bass has become a business as well, alongside that, which is actually kind of ironic, right? Like in so many ways people have found ways to monetize it, make it this big massive thing, but actually in so many other ways, like you said, it's kind of primitive in some ways.
Because also the business people are like, because it's the DIY thing, but they found a way to make money. It's like some dude who'd been like running club nights their whole life with no business plan, or like has managed to just somehow access loads of funds and organize themselves just enough to do that. It's like, okay, but still, like I'm surprised that like the lack of contracts around in general, and I don't want to get too bureaucratic about it, but I think it's just little things that are not, it's just about like the respect that you have and understanding that like this is work as well, and I also want some kind of security. Like
getting paid is important, man.
Getting paid is important.
It's actually,
exposure though,
right?
Yeah, you can't pay your bills.
You can't pay,
But no, but facts though.
Yeah,
honestly,
how often do we complain about statements coming in late?
Yeah.
I've given up complaining because it would just be like a half yearly reoccurring month of just stress.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think it's one of those things where people like kind of mistake it for I don't know how they describe it, but it's like I want you to at least value like what's happening here. Like I don't mind people coming up to me being like, look, this is our situation. Here's our financial situation. This is all we can offer. These are the reasons why we might have some difficulties with booking you or whatever the situation is. If they're like really transparent about it, I'm like, cool. Like I will let's work together. Let's do as long as you're organized and you respect the idea of like, I hate when people talk to you as if it's that them underpaying you is a favor in some way, and it's like it's not. I value what I do a lot, and I value what you do. Have some self-respect and be like, you're clearly working really hard, and it is hard, and I respect that. And like,
but that's it. Transparency goes a long way, doesn't it? It's just decent to be honest and open with one another rather than trying to like sugarcoat things and lie and be weaselly about it.
An extension to this, you know, you made me think a lot about this, like since we did the last podcast, we were having a conversation afterwards about like publishing. And I just feel like the more I've been thinking about that, I was like, drum and bass labels shouldn't be doing publishing because they don't do anything with it. It's just like, it's a way of being like, oh, if any extra money does come along, we're entitled to it, but we're not actually going to go.
This is like a great example of what you were talking about.
It's the typical, it's the typical business model in a DIY genre where lots of people are just like
do it for the
kids
sake
in
of
their
it.
bedroom on a laptop. Like that's what most people still are to this day, and. There's very few people, and only up until recently did you have anybody really doing it, where you have like a manager, an agent, a legal team, just for
publishers,
like backing you backing you alongside the label and the publisher, and making sure you're getting the best deal and you're getting paid and your value is worth it. That's still so unachievable for so many people. Like, it's just not a thing that's normal and commonplace.
The publishing one, I feel like, is so mental though, because it's just like, it's just really is for the sake of it. And it's like it sits there doing nothing, whereas actually if you were able to, like you said, like take control of your own catalogue and go to someone who's actually gonna be like pitching your music somewhere, then it gets on something, and then all of a sudden it's more discoverable and accessible. Oh look, the master recording's now making more money because people are like actually tapping into that, and it's like such a backwards, like ramshackle way of thinking, like what you said, that it just makes no sense at all. Actually, like D&B labels shouldn't just be doing publishing just to own the rights to someone's shit for the sake of owning it.
That's what it is.
It's actual bollocks. Like
it's property buying up. It's the same thing, isn't it? I want to buy up vacant properties in the hope that one day they go up, and it's just like me buying them up. It's inflate that.
It's Dubai in the year 2005. Whoa, let's put these buildings up. No one can fill them, but like hopefully something will happen in the future. Admittedly, it did, but I don't see that for. I don't see that for DMB.
And especially now that drum and bass again has commercially become so viable for like TV, film, games, all of that stuff. It's like there is actually so much potential sitting in your already made music, already released music, and not having a serious person like able to shop that out.
Plugging it 100.
I mean, especially what we should be making hay while the sun shines before AI wipes all of this out. So if we're being real, do you know what I mean? Like this is the time to be doing this stuff. So that was
sorry, it was just a very relevant.
No, that was an ick that kind of turned into a political show.
I mean that as well. Like,
I love it.
Full circle ick.
All right, let's maybe end more positively. Is there anything you want to say that you haven't said? Actually,
I feel like I don't talk this much a lot of times.
You should talk more. You should speak very eloquently.
You've got some good stuff to say as well, man.
I don't know. I suppose just be kind.
Love that. Yeah.
I think to be honest, anyone who's listened to this podcast should be taking a lot of things away from this chat, to be fair. I think I think you've managed to say things that we talk about a lot, but in a way that's like, I don't know, just your own personal spin on these things has been super interesting to hear about. Obviously, check out the music.
Yeah,
We forget to do that. We should talk about that.
Yeah, listen to the music.
So Thing with Heaven's just come out. It's incredible project. Oh yeah, I didn't ask. Did you said the artwork for your more recent project?
Yes.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's me with the Super Studio. They do all the fun stuff. But yeah, I think after when Lensman found out that I did painting, he was like, we should probably do that for an art.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Cool.
Super sick, man. Wow. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this this chat. Like
fun.
We should definitely do it again, man. Next project, let's do it. Next project, come back down. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to make sure you get your train.
Yeah.
So
time is.
we'll definitely wrap this up. But yeah, like thank you so much for coming on, man. Really enjoyed it.
Absolute pleasure. Cheers.
Thank you, man.
Excellent.
Thanks very much for joining us on this episode, guys. Again, just like, follow, subscribe on whatever format you're listening to. Really appreciate it. And if you want to come and check us out on Patreon, again, we'd appreciate the support. Till the next one.